Right, so quick introduction. My name's Glynn Osborne. I'm the Assistant Security Manager for QMC. I've been in the security industry for over 30 years and over 25 years at the NHS. And this is my boss, Ian Johnson, who is the security manager, who also deals with car parking.
You had to, didn't you? You had to, didn't you? Hang on, where's all the fruit? There's the rotten fruit. So I've got a little agenda for us to talk through. So hopefully you're going to get something from it, and you won't just think of as a Del Boy and Rodney duo. But so we've done the options. But I'm Ian Johnson. I have purposely left car parking off that, but Glynn's added me. If anyone's any car parking queries, I can help. Ian Johnson. So I've been in the security industry for nearly 20 years. Although only been working for the NHS for since March, so it's been a real, I guess you could say, eye-opener. So we're just going to go through and what have we done here? What are you doing? I did say Del Boy and Rodney, didn't I? Okay, so I'm just going to give you an overview of the security team, and I'm sure that everybody has all had interactions with security. So I'm going to cover QMC for today, and those we're at QMC. But if you're at City on Monday, we'll go. We'll talk about that. But so we have around 77 officers covering our three sites, being Queen's Medical Centre, City, and Roadwalk House. We have so in terms of what we have per day and what we can expect. So we've got quite. That might sound quite a lot, but it's quite a small team what we have on a daily basis. So we would only have sort of a team leader, a CCTV operator, and 5 officers based at Queen's per day. Out of those 5 officers, 2 of them will always be in ED, and we'll always respond to that. So it is quite a small team. So what that team does, just to give everyone, and I don't think everyone's going to nod their head now and go, yeah, I've seen them do that, but responds to emergency calls with a rapid response. Crime reduction. So when we're out doing patrol, if we're out in the car park, while we're talking about car parks, if we see mobile phones on seats or anything like that, or believe it or not, I've seen today that someone's keys have been left on a wall just by the car. We will report that back through and try to identify owners of vehicles. So effectively trying to reduce that crime on site. But bike thefts, we're actively trying to reduce those. Patrolling wise, so you'll see us out and about doing patrols. In the 6 months I've been here, we've increased patrolling by over 40%. We're trying to increase everything around patrolling, because patrolling is a great way of deterring from making these assaults and people rising up. In the last reporting period, we've delivered over 22,000 hours in trying to do, which is a big increase in what we've done in the past. Clearly, staff and patient escorts, we get a lot of requests, and contrary to what you want to believe, we will never ever turn down an escort, particularly if it's a staff member who, even if a staff member wants an escort to the vehicle. We do lots of them every week, every month, every year. And if somebody wants an escort, because they may through their own life or whatever, they're a little bit worried. We do that a lot, and they just need to contact security, and we will do that. We respond to alarms, so that could be panic alarms, fire alarms, intruder alarms, but obviously in terms of AVH, we respond to all of that panic alarms. We search for missing patients. Now, I'll be the first to admit, when we do get a missing patient reported, and I know it was touched on this morning around missing patients, sometimes it can be really challenging for us, because we'll get a call and say, someone's gone missing, when did you last see him? 3 hours ago. And we've got no chance at that point. But we will always go out and we'll attempt to see that. We do have, as part of that, our CCTV, we're currently doing a CCTV review to improve CCTV in all areas of the trust, both on all sites. And clearly, once we get better CCTV, that will help us in sort of trying to retrieve some of the systems out there Sorry.
Are the CCTV cameras located all around the corridors in the hospital? I've never really noticed them, but
Maybe on
where
the
is...
ground floor.
Yeah. So mainly, again, high risk areas, so around ED massively. For the main entrance on B floor, we're currently going for a review where we want to increase it. We've currently got only around 176 cameras at Queen's. In a utopia place, we'd like to be around double that. So we're currently doing the CCTV review with an external provider, and that's been a huge part of my first 6 months to try and get that and try and get the funding in place for that. As Neil mentioned earlier, we're currently going for a staffing review as well to make sure. And I talked about those numbers. Do we have enough numbers? Do we have the right numbers? I like shaking your head there. So
we get 5. We've got
5 per shift.
All that come out of your 5.
Yeah.
And 2 are in ED.
Right.
So that leaves us with 3.
Plus your bed watch.
Plus if we have a bed watch on or anything like that, it all comes out of a 5. Yeah. And that's if you're fully staffed.
The bed watch takes 2 people.
Yeah. So it can be really challenging. So Glynn's going to get. It's probably worth it. We need to mention the next one. We are doing that staffing review where we're just looking at, obviously we're going to look to increase if we can get that through the system. On all sides, really. But you'll be happy to know you're not going to just listen to me. We're going to share it.
That's my turn then. Right, one for Joe over here. You're not the only person that's got a smackable face, by the way. I've had a fair share over the years. So anyway, we provide our guys well-trained rapid response to violence and aggression calls. We get numerous calls of violence and aggression every day without fail, and we're averaging on 2 actual violent or aggression calls every day throughout the year. So that's 2 actual calls we go to where somebody has been abused or hit or something else. We offer professional service. The lads are courteous, most of them. You get the odd one. Smart, they're easily identifiable. Compassionate, empathetic, as well as being non-judgmental. So whenever they go somewhere, they won't just go, you've done that, and jump in. They'll always try and find out what's actually gone on before. Basically, the security department is a one-stop shop for anything out of the ordinary. We often get called because there's a pigeon loose in a ward or something like that. It's not unusual. First question is, has it stolen anything? Has it carried an offensive weapon? Court states. But again, most people come first for everything. As Ian said earlier, we do a lot of staff escorts to and from car parks. If people have got AVH problems in the home or with ex-partners, we will collect them from the car park in the morning and return them to the car at night. We'll even take staff to the perimeter of the campus, but we won't go any further than that. We also escort valuables and controlled drugs across the site when necessary and across campuses as well. Good communication with staff and patients. We're often the first port of call when people arrive at the hospital with the wayfinding people. Everybody comes to security. Where's this, where's that, where's the other? And as a place this size, as you all know, from working here for a while, it takes a long time to learn where everything is. We also do out-of-hours check calls on wards where there's lone workers or not many ward workers, or even areas that have got high levels of violent patients that may be kicking off. And also the accuracy, the accurate passage of information, because when we get information, we have to pass that on to the patients and other people. So that's that. The lads have all got really good de-escalation skills. All the staff are trained to BTEC level 2 conflict communication through the SIA. And they've also done the PBS training, which Ian's going to touch on in a bit. And that's where we look for the root cause of a problem, as opposed to going in and dealing directly with the problem that manifests in front of you. So whereas all the old training we used to do was the problem in front of you, deal with the problem. Now we hold back, we stop the problem in its tracks, and we try and find the root of the problem and deal with that. We found it's been a lot less and in a lot less violence. So that's a really good one. We also do regular patrol of key areas, as Ian's just mentioned. On average, they do 1,500 patrols per calendar month. So that's, as you said, how many hours was it?
22,000.
22,000. That averages out to 1,500 per month. We also respond to alarms. So over the last reporting period, well actually no, it was over the last month, we attended 30 fire alarms, 4 panic alarms, 18 intruder alarms, and 28 to 22 escorts off-site of unlawful visitors. Another thing that the security team do a lot with is responses to deliberate self-harm. So people see people trying to jump off a bridge or people trying to hang themselves, which we've dealt with quite recently. One actually did jump or I'm not sure, 2 weeks ago, which was quite upsetting for the people that are actually there. We're supposed to be supported by the ED teams when these things come about. However, we always get to know first, so we're always out there, and 9 times out of 10 we've resolved it before the actual other teams get there. Not a nice thing to do, but no, it's part of the job. Next slide, please. What you shouldn't expect from the security team. Don't expect escorts anywhere off site. We don't do that. We'll take you to the perimeters of the site, take you to the car parks, but we don't do anything else.
Sorry, believe it or not, I've had a request this week for us to transport some equipment to Leicester. True story. True story.
Patient property. The other thing we don't do, and don't expect us to do this, is take patients outside to smoke. Where there is, we get these every day. Where there is a requirement that it's going to solve a big problem on a ward, we will support a nurse taking them out. But we don't go and fetch them, take them out for a smoke and take them back afterwards. Another thing we don't do is restraints outside of policy.
Yes. What does that mean? So what kind of restraints can the security team do? Because we had an incident recently on the ward that the patient physically grabbed an extinctor and attacked a member of staff.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't do much security then.
Well, they should have done.
Okay.
By restraints outside of policy, what I mean is we'll get called up to restrain somebody while they administer medication. Now, if that is for a serious clinical need, yes, we'll do it. If there's adults in place, if there's no capacity. But if they're just being a little bit restless and wandering around the ward, and the person they want to medicate is, fully competent and says, no, I don't want it, we won't restrain to do that. And also, as I say, patients just wandering around the ward, potentially causing a little bit of disturbance, we won't restrain for that. We'll take them back to the bed. We won't restrain them on the bed to keep them there just because they're disturbing for a few other people. I mean, there's other ways of dealing with it. The other thing we won't do is we will not stay with patients that are not showing any violent tendencies when other emergency calls are coming in. We have to prioritise the workload on a case-by-case basis. So if we're called to someone, they've been aggressive, they've calmed down, they're being okay, the fire alarm goes off, the guys will have to leave because the fire alarm will take priority over that patient. The finishing leaders will come back. What we expect from you guys. So, clear communication on what we are attending. So the person requesting security support should pass on as much information as possible to the control room. The name of the person, the nature of the problem, the description of whoever it's going to deal with, and the level of threat that we're going to be walking into. The other thing we like is information regarding patients with contagious conditions. So we need to know if the condition of the patient we're called to deal with poses a risk to our staff, and if it does, we would ask that the relevant PPE is available when we get there, like face shields, gloves, aprons, stuff like that. The other thing that's probably the most important is support when we're called to an incident. So just remember that the security team is a support service, and I mean support. We are there to support you, not to take over from you. We're not medically trained, and a member of clinical staff must remain with the patient while we're dealing with them. Unless they've been discharged, then all of our training changes to a different sort of training. So, during periods of restraint, where possible, a clinical member of staff, and this is from policy, clinical member of staff should be responsible for controlling the restraint. This person must ensure the head and neck are appropriately supported and protected, and the patient's airway and breathing are not compromised. That's what we expect when we turn up. So many cases we turn up to an incident, this patient being violent and aggressive, we've got 2 or 3 of our lads holding them down, nursing staff clear off, and as I said, we're not medically trained, we don't know the patient's history, you know, it puts a great risk on the patient. Emergency calls. All calls for emergency must go through 222. More often than not, calls come through to the control room phone. Oh, we've got an emergency on so and so. If they're on a different phone call, because we've got 3 or 4 phones in the office, it might not get answered. So to guarantee an immediate response, 222, they will call us. However, when you do ring 222, that will come through to us. But we'd appreciate it as well if you call the control room. Then you could pass over the details of whatever it is we're attending. There's nothing worse than for us to turn up to something blind. And does everyone know how to get our phone numbers? Back of your ID cards.
Oh, you've ruined it there.
Ruined it.
Ruined it there.
Totally ruined it. There you go. Back of everybody's ID card, you will find the security numbers for both campuses. If you've got an out-of-date one, if you've got an out-of-date one, it's probably got the old phone numbers from before we changed it.
Yes.
Obviously, you guys, take example of one of your spaces as nurses, we've unfortunate, and you guys come along, or your team comes take over it, and because you're different trained what team here is trained in, they will have to take over the restraint. Is that still correct?
We would take over the restraint, but however, you would still go to the head and shoulders.
That's what I'm saying, because obviously the team here aren't trained in PMVA, and therefore they don't know how to hold the head safely.
It's not so much holding the head. We don't touch heads and necks at all. You're there
That's
to
different issue, that's where I'm from.
so you're there to monitor the head, the shoulders, the neck, and make sure that A, we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing, and B,
And they're safe.
they're safe. Anyway, a couple of final thoughts before I hand you back to Ian. AVH is increasing exponentially month on month, especially with cases of racial abuse. And there have been 2 notable key events that have made this spiral. The first being Brexit, the second being COVID. After those 2 events, these cases went through the roof. And we're still seeing month on month increases. Whether that's because we're getting better at reporting them or, mind you, no, because that's what we actually attend. Racial abuse is never acceptable. These people can't hide behind lack of capacity. There's a real contentious one before I even finish it. These people can't hide behind lack of capacity or mental health. Those, or medication even. These words are already in their heads. Medication just gives it a mechanism to come out. So that's one to think about. So if you are racially abused, don't say it's because of his condition. Don't say it's because of his medication. It's not. That's their thoughts. Couple of final things. Social media. In the not too distant past, we had one of our site matrons stalked on social media, stalked to the hospital. That's because the Facebook wasn't locked down properly. After, it was about 3 months, we eventually got him arrested. He thought he was sent by Christ. There was obviously other issues than that. But yeah, please just make sure all your social media is locked down so it's not accessible to the wider public. People in general, when they're ill, when they're at the lowest points, they come to hospital. We show we care. They will latch onto that. They latch onto somebody's cared for me, somebody cares about me, but they've not had that before. So then they'll latch onto you, they'll try and find you, they will see you on Facebook, so please just make sure you lock down. And the final thing before I hand you back over is anything that happens, date it every time. The more information we get through Datix, the more resources we can get, the better service we can provide to you. So I'll hand you over to Ian now.
I know we're going to finish on a nice positive note. Now, So just going to talk you through a little bit of training there, because I think expectations is a key word on both sides, isn't it? And just talk through some of the things that we've done really in terms of what training we provide to the staff. So I wrote it down earlier when Neil was handing his questions out. So I want to ask a little question, and just feel free just to shout out. Or, does anybody know what the best type of restraint is? Low, medium, hard? Brilliant. Exactly. So I didn't expect no one to get that. So well done. So back in 2022, prior to obviously me coming here, we introduced PBS course, which stands for Positive Behaviour Support and Physical Intervention. So it's although you obviously most of you people will know ICON, and some have probably been through the ICON training. We moved away from the ICON. This training is all about being positive around patients, sort of making sure they're safe, and safety is the key word in all of this, and constantly talking to the person, moving away from restraint, getting into a restraint, move away, and we've done about 4 or 5 courses of this now. So we had one this week, and I went and viewed one. I had a couple of hours up there. And constantly the guys I talk to in what is the best form of restraint? No restraint. So when you're out there and seeing the guys, there were times when we have to restrain, but crucially, most of the time now we're really trying to avoid that. And we've actually just a bit of positive news. We've actually just been shortlisted for an award for the National Association of Healthcare Security. So the security department's been nominated for an award, which is a national recognised award, and we've actually now been also nominated on for an OSPO, which is an Outstanding Security Performance Award, which is mind-boggling really from in the industry. I've been in the industry sort of 20 years, and actually Glynn's been in the NHS 25 years, and I'm sure he'd share some hours too. It's hard to believe. So it's really positive stuff, and so I hope that when you're out there seeing the guys, and it's really good that we can do that. We've just started the last sort of 6 months, 7 months or so. We're introducing so now we're getting people to trim trained, obviously in trauma risk management. I know that's not something that's just for security, so we're starting to go down that. We have seen in all of this training, we have seen in the last reporting period, I know it will sound strange on an AVH day, we've actually seen a 20% reduction in AVH. Now, I'll caveat that and say some of that might be data reporting. So some of that is, please keep reporting. But in that reporting period, to see that is massive. Our next reporting period is like in 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues or whether it was just a freak, So it'll be really interesting for us. So yes, clearly just some of the legislation. All of our staff are SIA licensed trained. Hopefully most of you know what it is, but it's Security Industry Authority. It's a governing body really that regulates security. Been in place since 2006.
2001. Private Security.
We'll fight later, don't worry.
Private Security Act 2001.
That's on their side. Anyway, so I just think it's really positive. We've come from a place, and you guys will know security in terms of your aspect, of your perception of security, over your time here. But since I've been here, the guys really embraced it. I'll be honest, we're not where we want to be. We've still got mountains to climb, and we've still got improvements to make. But we're really passionate about being here. So really excited about being here today to come in and share some of this news with us, with you guys. So on that note, no parking. But any questions? Hello.
I am thinking about start making it so lads. Do your girls on screen?
We have got a girl. You're all right. Sorry, you're all right. We have
underrepresented, but we do have one.
We have one girl, and
she is one of those.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And we would dearly love to take more staff. So we recently went out to recruitment for 9 vacancies. Not one female applied. Now it's something that we really want to address over the coming. So in the security staffing review, if we're able to, one of the in my time, so before this job, I was so I ran a security service for a trust in Wolverhampton. We had girls, women applied, so it was really easy. We didn't do anything special. It's just, but we really wanted to tackle some of it, maybe 12-hour shifts, night shifts, weekends. So we're trying to address some of that by in the security staff review. We're asking for some 8-hour shifts. So some more support during the week. So yeah, we're hopeful we will get some females, because it is something we really want to do.
Ideally, we want at least one on every shift.
On every shift.
Just because, it doesn't matter replacing our arguments, so.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
Not met my wife, though.
Just on a real positive note on security, when I joined anyway, security had a bit of a reputation of being, a bit slow, a bit unresponsive. Oh, look at him, what's he going to do? Puny little old men that, but now I see security whenever I've needed them. Excellent service, they just stand in the background, just watch what happens. Their presence is generally enough to diffuse a situation. So I've got a lot of praise for you guys, and thanks, because they are
very nice, and we would certainly pass that on as well.
We've gone from a position where when we used to advertise staff, it was too late to pulse, start on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now we're very selective on the interview process.
I think it's a bit visible, you can see it.
The last interview, so my first time of doing interviews, and it was really, compared to my previous 18, 19 years in the industry, I was amazed at sort of the level of detail that Glynn really went in their interview process. It's really refreshing.
Yes, Helen.
I would propose I don't know about the local investment or working but I think since there's been a tangible difference in the ways that we've worked together to approach AVH and consequences that we wouldn't have achieved what we've achieved without these two. I think we're going to be a hard five. I think we've definitely been a tangible step forward that we can through work and you see what response and we travel. And that was the possible lines that I think that they asked for help in and they need help with this previously they didn't, but now your team are very good at asking to help and support them. And also say when they will place do things quickly, unclear vocalising where they are and can't do, which makes it much clearer as to what each of the responsibilities are. But I just think it's only a positive step forward. Having been on the side of security, that means you don't promise us that you want you based on the results. Within the structure, anywhere you invest in security, if we want to make a competition, have that feels like working security, obviously.
Thank you, Ellen. Very much appreciated. Sorry.
So let's say I tend to be a PDS security guy.
Of course you did, yeah.
I'm really impressed with how supportive they are, running through all the scenarios, the level of compassion and support they show, even though it's just a made-up scenario, you can tell that they do that day to day. I'm really impressed by it, and we've just got a really good set of values and behaviours.
For those of you who don't know, we've actually got 2 associate trainers, one senior trainer, one associate trainer, 4 PBS through Sherwood training actually on our teams now, so we can actually deliver the PBS training to the rest of our security teams. This is the first one they've just done. They are looking at diversifying some of the programs and rolling it out to some of the clinical teams. And Neil touched on that this morning, but obviously we've got to go through re-licensing before we can support with that training as well.
We need to make it specific to you, what you need, and But it's good that you attended. I know Jake's been a couple of times now, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm just going to say, so a few years ago, one of my staff members, she was being stalked by one of the patients. And I think one of the things that really helped her was the ability from her ID badge was just to have her first name. So that really made her feel comfortable. And that was something that up until that point I hadn't realised it could even request. So
we're not supposed to do that. What you'll probably find that a surname, a full name would be on the back of the badge. So what we can do is we can just put them, it's like our security staff, they don't have names on them, they have S numbers. But yeah, when we've done it for staff before, we just put the first name and the full name on the back of the card. So yeah, we can do that.
And we do, so access control does fall under myself as well, so we do have that, you know, so we can have that ability to impact on that. So yeah, talk to us and we can do that. Thank you very much.